Well, welcome to the channel, viewers. You're Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist. You're about to watch me kite at the beautiful Ettalong on the Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. We're setting up the kite now, as you can see. I want to try and give you as much aspect of the way in which I live as a man. It's 57 going on 58-year-old man. We're trying to show you on the channel that you can have a very constructive, active life in every aspect and respect. I will say about 5 years ago I nearly got killed kiting. I was taken 5 meters up into the air, 25 meters across and come down on land. I shattered my ankle and snapped my wrist. I was in hospital for well over a month. And it's taken me nearly 4 years to get my ankle right. But you're witnessing right now, not my first kite since then, but first kite for the season. The wind's come up, first day of spring. And there goes the kite with me on the end of it. I've got the camera on my helmet, so you won't see me personally, but I can assure you that's my Ocean Rodeo 12 meter kite. That's James, a good friend of mine, who's just helped me launch. The wind was too strong for that size kite. I really needed a 10 meter, which I'll sort out as the season goes on. That's my board. That's a custom made European board, carbon fibre. We'll ride that. It's called a twin tip. We're about to enter the water. So thank you for joining me on the channel, viewers. Many of you have had possibly several relationships now, and I hope that the one that you're in now is working really well. If you've come recently out of a serious nasty breakup, I just pray that you're doing well, you're doing fine, that you're coming to terms with some of the reasons why. And what I've had to do, I've had to come back and narrate to this footage because I did do this talk on the water, but it was my first go at it, and the noise of the wind was just too much. So I've decided, rather than throw the clip and footage away, because I made the effort to bring you into this part of my life, I thought I'd come back and narrate the message. And the message really is about whether you were the cause of your breakup or not. And if you were, you really need to stop and look at what you've done and why you've done it, because it's not healthy for any of us to hurt people. Now, the reason could be legit, or the reason could just be selfish. That's something that you have to be honest about with yourself and transparent about. And if it was cheating or constant lying or constant failure to step up to be the person that person needed you to be, you need to come to terms with yourself relative to what part you played. Now I think we're about to launch. Yes, I think we're away. We are away now on the water, so I hope you enjoyed the scenery at Ettalong on the Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. Just remind you, the camera is on my helmet, and the narration was too noisy. The wind was just too noisy. A lot of the view will be skyward. I have to keep an eye on my kite. I have to monitor the kite. And just let me say, this is very similar to a relationship where you are connected to somebody, and as we turn, it's really sad when you lose someone that you love. And if it's a reason of unresolved, that makes it even harder, because most things can be resolved. But I guess if you're in a situation where it's a triangulation, that can really hurt, because when it comes to triangulation, it stops the other person, if it's legit, from going to resolve, because usually they can't. If the third person is the problem, this is just one instance of the many things, that person's jammed. If it's a family member, they've got serious decisions to make. And sometimes they just can't make them. And that's where you've got to stop and say, well, look, I'm at a point in my life where I need all-round support, not just support that's going to be governed by some miserable, horrible person that's not truly involved in the relationship, someone that really doesn't have a mind for the relationship. And this is why when you raise children and things, you need to have healthy boundaries and not allow them to become the police of your life. That usually happens through enmeshment, when we hand over authority to our children that we shouldn't. And I do hope you're enjoying this footage, viewers. That's Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison kiting at Ettalong Beach, the Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. And just let me say, just by way, this waterway just here is one of the natural wonders of the world, because it's one of the few places where 5 waterways meet in one. Just a little bit of feedback. Triangulation could be relative to an emotional affair, and that's harmful, that's painful. When you find out that your partner's been talking to somebody outside the relationship. I've just come off the board. You can see the board in the background there, and you've got to sort of struggle to get back to it, because you've got the wind against you, and there's all different methods that you use to do that. And just let me remind you, these are shark infested waters. It's not a good idea to fall off. It's highly probable, you'd be unlucky if you did get attacked, but you can't just swim around in there, if you know what I mean. So there's a lot of adrenaline and a lot of instinct going on when you do this, and that's part of the buzz and part of the rush, getting your instincts going and all that sort of thing. The other reason why you could be going through a breakup is just a deterioration in the person's performance. For some strange reason, they've just become distant. They've tried not to, but they have. It's just the way they are, and in a way you could feel duped. You could feel like you've been let down by way of, this is not the person you presented yourself to be. But a lot of people, they don't have the right boundaries around them and the right ways in which they operate themselves in life. And this can become really detrimental to them if you're a well-aware person and they start to deteriorate in front of you. They're not resolving things that they should. They're repeating behavior that's not integral or moral or where the relationship should be. This is going to play on your mind, and it can cause trauma. And I know women that have stayed with and men that have stayed with these people for too long. And you might be doing that person the best favour you can by saying to them, look, I'm sorry, this is what's in front of me. We've known this has been an issue. It's obviously something that is not important enough to you to want to resolve. I've tried to be tolerant. I've shown you my tolerance. It could be for months. For some people, they've shown tolerance for 20, 30 years. And you can see another kite there in the background's just gone up, just in the background there. And you have got to monitor your relationship like I'm monitoring this kite. If I lose control of that kite, I could end my life. It's a serious sport that takes tremendous skill, and relationships are the same. They take tremendous skill, and it's our responsibility to be aware and to navigate our relationships the way that we should. For some strange reason, we just fail to do that. We let our loyalty and faithfulness blind us from the life that we should be living now. And this is something that I used to teach to people that were coming out of cults, like the Jehovah's Witnesses and other cults, where they needed rehabilitation to totally re-establish their identity and their thinking. And one of the things that really worked was to say to them, look, your faithfulness and loyalty and devotion has been misguided. You've allowed yourself to place those things in a disorderly manner towards the lies and the deceptions of the cult. And it's time for you now to come back to yourself. And this could take years. It's the same in a relationship, if not worse. When you're in love with somebody and you've been betrayed, or you've just been let down for so long, and again, it can be circumstances that are out of both of your control. You know, it's not a matter of judgment, it's a matter of mental health, I believe. On the other hand, if you're a person that has deliberately sabotaged your relationship and brought sadness and grief to somebody, you need to really be careful about how you're going to go about things, because you can bring things in your life that you don't want later down the track. So we need to be very careful how we treat people. You're watching Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist, kiting at Ettalong on the Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. I will remind you now that the way I'm navigating this kite for my life is the same way and same awareness you need to have when you're navigating your relationship. It's not judgment. I'm not judging that kite. I just want it to go where I need it to go, where it needs to go for both of us, for what it was made for, and that's how we'll have a successful journey. Many of you have broken hearts and sore minds. You're probably suffering extreme trauma. I just ask you to think of the Lord Jesus Christ, or your God, or whatever your thing is. Give yourself time to understand that sometimes the hardest choices are the best for everyone. If you've explained to somebody what the problem is and they haven't fixed it, it's on them, it's not on you. You stay on point. Just stay on point and give yourself time to heal. You've been watching Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison as he takes you out and shows you that there are things you can do in life to assist your relationship. Give each other room to breathe. And guys and viewers and ladies and gentlemen, if this video has resonated with you, if you would like to press the like button, possibly subscribe, and most of all, share this video with somebody that might be hurting. Remember, God made Jesus, who knew no sin. There's a kiter coming from the other direction to be sin for us. That's what I'm doing, but you can't see me on the screen. So that we might become the righteousness of God in Him. May the Lord bless you and the Lord protect you and keep you safe and strong. May He look after your relationship so that together you can be what God planned. Strong. Conquer viewers, thank you for joining me, and bye for now.